Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abby if you're new here, and today I'm going to be showing you the fastest growing houseplants I have in my collection. So some of these might come as a bit of a surprise to you. They personally did me. I actually bought them expecting them to be slow growers, but they have really shown me otherwise. And some of these will be really obvious to you. But I'm just going to give you a rundown of my fastest growing houseplants. This is a video that I personally always really enjoy watching on YouTube and other people, because one, I like to see what other people's experiences are with fast growing houseplants, but also I kind of like to buy plants knowing that they're fast growing, if that makes sense. So hopefully this is helpful to you, you enjoy it. If you do, give it a thumbs up at the end of the video or thumbs down depending on how you feel, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So the first one I'm going to show you could be a little bit surprising to you, I'm not sure. I just have to hold it up like this because it's a big one and it's very heavy in a ceramic or a concrete pot actually. So this is a Euphorbia. I bought this when it was, yeah, you can see it was about this tall here. So all of this was pushed out within a matter of weeks. It actually grew so quickly. I was really, really shocked. Really happy about it because I think it's amazing. It's actually sitting underneath a shelf, and it's probably got like millimeters before it touches the shelf now, which is just actually under there. So I will need to rehome it soon in a different position in the flat. But I love how quick of a grower this is. And a lot of people get the care for this plant completely mixed up with cactus. So it's not a cactus, it's a Euphorbia. And it does like to be watered more like a regular house plant than a cactus would. But yeah, I think it's really, really cool. I'm still yet to see any of the kind of like side kind of like arms coming out from the top bit. But nevertheless, it's growing, it's happy. I'm obviously doing something right. I did accidentally take some cuttings because I was just kind of like, I was taking a small cutting and the knife went right through a whole arm of it. So I do have some propagations. They're doing really well. The roots have grown really quickly and the actual cuttings are growing as well. So an accidental experiment, I can say that it's really easy to propagate this. It's actually a bit too easy if you slip with your knives. But yeah, I do love this plant. And when I first got it, I wasn't sure what to expect from it because I don't have any other Euphorbia, but I really love it. And I really, really want the Ghost now, which is a bit more expensive, but yeah, it's on my wish list. So the second plant on my list is one that a lot of people know. It's this Raindrop. A lot of people know this as the sister one is the Pepermoites, which is a really, really quick grower. This is the Raindrop version. It's actually a variegated one, which is amazing. Do not judge me on the state of this plant. I know I completely messed up with it. I treated it, it had some, I think it was like spider mites or like aphids or something, and I treated it. And obviously the soap, the amount of soap I put in there was too much. I actually sprayed it down, and then I had a really bad feeling, and then I kind of like rinsed it off within like a minute, so it wasn't even on there for long, but it did burn it, which is annoying because it kind of shows through the variegated leaves, and I've lost a really heavily variegated leaf from it, but it's okay. But it is a really quick grower. It was about this tall when I got it in summer, so it has grown all of that, but as well as that, it's put out loads of new babies as well. So this is only one pot that I got from that, and it's just reproducing them really quickly. So yeah, it's really exciting. I love the Raindrop. They're just, you can just leave them and they will literally like grow like weeds, which is really exciting. So yeah, that's another one that I find to be a super, super quick grower. So this is one that a lot of people may be surprised at. I actually have a lot of Hoya on my slow growing houseplant list, but this Hoya is a really quick grower. I got this as a cutting from the Macrame Jungle on Instagram. We actually met up when I went to go to the city where they live, and it was literally a plant like this. It was a cutting like this, and then all of this was just kind of like an offshoot. So since I've got this cluster of leaves, I've got all of these leaves here, and obviously it's still growing like in its length. super easy. The roots actually developed, like I put it in like a glass jar so I could see the root growth. The roots developed in weeks. So she took a brand new cutting for me on the day that I met her. I put it in water and it was literally weeks later that I was potting it up, and I was really, really surprised. Like even my pothos don't grow that quick, like the root system. But yeah, it's growing really, really quickly. I mean, it's even got like a complete new growth point here. And like I say, all here and then all down here. So yeah, that is a Hoya, which is on my fastest growing houseplant list. And I'm really thankful because I'm really into Hoya at the moment, so yay. So whilst we're talking about Hoya, I'll show you my other Hoya that is a super quick grower. This is, it was sold to me as a Hoya Bella, and then some people say it's a Wyetii, some people say, I don't know, so people have different opinions about this one. And people also know it's a string of beans. This is growing so much, I don't even know how to explain it. So all of these offshoots here, like there's loads here, and then there's like some around this side. All of these were grown in my care. They were grown whilst I had them. So I was relatively new to Hoya when I had this, and I put it in the window, directly in the window, and a lot of people said, you'll have problems with that, it will bleach them, but I've honestly not had a problem. I do notice I water it a lot, and it's probably because it does obviously get more direct sunlight than it normally would if it was just in normal position. But I always thought these were little leaves like growing through, and I was like, they're so funny looking, but they're not. They are aerial roots. The leaves actually grow out on top of them, so just directly above. So yeah, I've got loads of aerial roots and offshoots, so I'm just waiting for them to like produce leaves now. But yeah, it's a really, really quick grower. I'm really like blown away with how amazing this is. I honestly thought Hoya were slow, but they're not. This is still in the nursery pot that I got it in because I really don't want to, if a plant is growing and a plant is happy and it doesn't seem like, well, especially now we're in winter, but if there is no problem and it's growing and it is obviously happy, then just don't touch it. If you want to obviously put it in a more decorative, nice pot, put it in a cover pot. That I usually do that and don't have any problems. So yeah, I would definitely just be leaving this in this until there are really clear reasons for me to repot, because it's on a roll. And yeah, I can't wait for it to get super long. So I'm really happy that it's kind of putting out new kind of growth points, as well as that growing in length as well. So that's really nice. So this plant is actually relatively new to me. I haven't had it for too long. It was a 3-leaf cutting, and then I tragically lost the other 2. So it's just a 1-leaf cutting. I have, however, had these, don't know if you can see them, these tiny, tiny little leaves. These have grown in within a week, I'd say. Like they've grown in super quickly, and I've got a new growth point there. Obviously it's got really established roots, but yeah, I'm really surprised at how quickly these leaves are growing in, albeit they're not as big as like the leaf that is obviously from the main plant. But yeah, I did have another, I had a full plant. It wasn't a variegated version, and for the first year of having it, I saw nothing from it. And then once like the beginning of summer hit, it was literally just producing new leaves like every single couple of days. It was amazing. So I know that the prayer plant Verragata is a fast grower, but it's good to see that the variegated version is just exactly the same. There's just no difference with the growth pattern, which is really good, because I mean they're beautiful plants. I love the ordinary versions anyway, because obviously it's got these darker points. But yeah, it's really exciting to see variegated plants, because they're obviously always going to be like different to each other. So this next plant could be either surprising to you, it could not be. This is my Philodendron silver sword. So it's a bit of a wild one. It actually just sits in my window, and I kind of neglect it a lot, which is really sad. But it just, I can't tell you how many cuttings I've taken from this. I've taken so many cuttings, and it's still putting out new growth. I mean, you can see we've got one coming through here, we've got one here, here. Honestly, it's such a quick grower. I do need to stake it up, but where it sits in my window, it kind of leans against the window, so it's okay. But honestly, it grows so quickly. I am waiting for, you can see how beautiful those leaves are. I'm waiting for the day that it puts out a kind of like more mature leaf, you know, like the actual silver sword shape rather than juvenile leaves. But until then, I'm just going to keep enjoying them. They have this like really beautiful, like iridescent kind of like sheen to them. I just think they're so beautiful. But yeah, it is like, it's a bit crazy, this plant, and it is one that, like I said, I just put near the window, I let it do its thing, and yeah, it's, every time I go back to it, it's like, it feels like it's double the size, which is good. So the next plant on my fast growing plant list is this Monstera Adensoniae. This is one of 3 that I have. I've got one climbing up a moss pole, and I've got another one just trailing like this one. This was climbing up a moss pole, and then I just took loads of cuttings from it and I just let it do its thing. This particular branch has, I want to say that's grown out in a month, all of that. It's a small plant considering I've had it for years, but believe you me, I've taken so many cuttings from this. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. I actually love the way the new leaves grow in, like flat, and then the older leaves are a bit kind of like, I don't know, a bit curly, bendy, a bit kind of imperfect, but beautiful. But yeah, the top leaves are kind of like that, they've got the narrow form, but it's always putting out new growth, which is exciting. I really do enjoy watching this one grow. So the next plant on my list is one that I feel like I'm showing you all the time, but it really does fit this category, and out of all of my plants, I'd say this was the quickest growing one. It is this Syngonium, Albo Verragata. I've had this, I've had it for less than a month. I got it and this one was unfurling at the time, and so it's put out 1, 2, 3 leaves since, and you can see I've got another one on the way. It's growing so quickly, which is what you want when your plants are rare house plants. So yeah, it's definitely welcomed, and I'm really happy considering it's probably still got thrips because I didn't do a really good job at getting rid of them. I haven't had time, which is awful. But considering it went through being potentially root rot and then having thrips, it's still growing really quickly. And I mean, that's got to be some hardy plant for it to still kind of put out new growth that quickly. So yes, I'd say this is the fastest growing plant I've ever had. Maybe other than my golden pothos actually, but yeah, it's really, really, really high up there. So yeah, that's a really rewarding plant. Just make sure you buy a healthy one because then it's less stressful for you. So I feel like I'm talking a lot and I feel like I've got a lot to show you, but it's good that I have so many plants to show you. But the next one is this Rapha Tetrasperma. Probably needs a bit of a water because it's looking a bit limp. This is a really fast grower. I don't know if you guys saw that I had problems with this plant. So I went on holiday and I've got 2 plants in here, maybe technically 3. But I went on holiday and I think it's the original one with the secondary fenestrations in it. I came back after someone was looking after my plants, and it just, if I filmed this a couple of months ago, this would be on my slowest growing house plants. So one of them was taking off like amazingly, and then the tissue culture one was really slow and it wasn't happy and it was limp and it went yellow, and I was just having a really tough time with it. I took it out of soil, put it in water, and it just started shooting like leaves out like one every kind of week. And then I put it back in soil thinking, this is a real risk because it clearly didn't like it, but it's honestly taken off since. So it basically came to me at this height, and it did nothing from when I got it in June to September maybe. And then from here all the way to the top, it's literally put all of that new growth out, and it's just going crazy. It's actually outgrowing the moss pole, as you can see at the top. But another one that I really welcome because I love it. Look at those leaves, they're just amazing. So a Rapha Tetrasperma is absolutely on the top of fastest growing plants for for me anyway, and I think for most people. So yeah, it's definitely a safe bet to go with if you want a fast growing houseplant. And then last but certainly not least is the golden pothos. So this is the one that I can bring to you and show you. It's just another one that just never ever stops growing. I've taken cuttings from this one, but my personal, well, this one I picked up, it's not even second hand, I picked it up from Facebook Marketplace, because the girl or lady couldn't really care for it. She didn't really live in the house anymore and her housemate wasn't doing a good job, so she sold them off, which is great. I was happy to take them because I love golden pothos. It's one of my oldest plants, but my original one is on the back shelf here. I'll trim it to where it is now, so you can kind of see it under my hand here. So I'll trim it to there at the end of each summer, and then it will literally touch the floor by, I'd say, mid-spring, and then it just is such a quick growing plant, and it's not in optimal position. So it's quite far away from the window. It doesn't have any kind of like direct light, it doesn't have any good light. It's kind of like low lit area, and it's in a pot with no drainage. And I kind of just I don't look what I do because it's above my eye level. I just pour water in when I remember, and it's literally insane. It's such a quick grower. It's so hardy. I love it. The golden pothos is definitely one of my all-time favorites. So if you're looking for an affordable plant that kind of gives you something because it grows quickly, go for the golden pothos because they're very affordable as well. And then sometimes you'll get leaves like this. You see, like it's like yellow and it's clearly not happy. You just go in there and just take them off. And I mean, you win some, you lose some, but the pattern with this is sometimes that if you do overwater it, you might lose a leaf, but they're so forgiving and clearly just so easy to look after. So that's it for this video. I honestly could go on with so many more plants to show you, but there needs to be an end at some point. So the other ones that I won't show you, but I can list off, are your string of hearts are super quick growing, your ZZ plant, your normal like Monstera deliciosa, my Monstera Verragata is like really quick considering. So yeah, there's a load of plants that I can list off, but they to show you them all would be a super long video, and I already feel like this is super long anyway. But I wanted to show you the ones that I'm more surprised at, the ones that people don't necessarily talk about too much, and some of my favorites as well, so some of my classics. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and leave your comments down below on what plants or the plant that you find to be the fastest growing in your collection, if you had to pick one. If I had to pick one, I would say the quickest is probably, like I said, the variegated Syngonium, and then below that is probably the golden pothos. So what is your fastest growing plant? Put it in the comments down below and I will speak to you there. Bye.